Now this is the most miraculous, the most potent, and the most delicious energy drink you can ever possibly have. This, I believe, is the single number one very, very best. And it's absolutely delicious. The way I make it, this tastes like sparkling wine or sparkling cider. So I drink my favourite drinks all day long. Now, when I first discovered this, it was after my surgeries. I've had 4 major surgeries on my belly, so I had to really fix my diet, my digestive system. And this was fundamental and key to it. Now, what I'm going to show you first is the way we all make it. Everyone tells you to make it. You have to strain out these little grains every time. But I don't do that. I don't strain them very often. In fact, I strain them maybe once every 6 months. I've got a very, very easy way of making this. But first of all, I'm going to show you this the traditional way and the way you have to do it now and then. So what I've got in here is I've got the kefir grains and I've got grape juice, red grape juice. And the kefir grains, they digest sugar. They eat sugar. And this is partly why they're so good. You see, if you eat a lot of sugary things and you drink this kefir, it will help you digest all that sugar that you eat. So it helps your digestion, and in particular if you're having bad foods that are not good for you, well, compensate by drinking this at the very same time, and it will eat the sugar for you. It will help you digest this sugar. And even if you've got diabetes, it's a very, very, very serious thing, very common now, I strongly suggest try drinking this water kefir. You'll be pleasantly surprised at how many things this can fix. It fixes everything. It has got the most potent, the highest quantity of beneficial bacteria from any of these things. And of course you can make it as strong as you like. But here you can see the grains. Now it's interesting to note the grains that are in the red grape juice. See, I only put red grape juice, nothing else. Mostly what you have to do is make up a sugar water solution and then you mix it with that. It's a bit more complicated. I'm doing this so simply it's hard to believe. So it's only red grape juice, nothing else, only red grape juice. And I have one set of the grains that I use for this red grape juice, and the other set, coming to in a minute, I use for apple juice. But you can see here the red grape juice, the grains in there seem to have gone a little bit smaller. It's quite interesting because this particular kefir I've got here, I've had going for maybe 1 or 2 years. Every now and then, it doesn't survive and I have to buy some more, but as I get better at making this, of course it just lives on. You just continually make this drink. It never runs out. It's quite literally a sort of manna from heaven. It's a self-sustaining food. All I've got to do is feed it with juice. So here's the red grape juice. After I've strained out the grains, then I put the grains back into the container and fill it up with red grape juice. Now these containers that I've got here are what you would call healthy plastic. They're special plastic, BPC free, I think that's what it's called. So you have to look into this. And then what I've got here is glass bottles. And then what I've got now, I pour out the strained liquid. Now this one I've got now here is looking a bit thick. I've got a lot of sediment in it because I only do this straining process once every 6 months. So I hardly ever do this. I'm going to show you afterwards the shortcut method. But this is the full method so you understand what this is and how it basically works. And then once I've got that strained liquid, I pour it into 2 bottles and top it up with juice halfway, only halfway, because these are the ones I'm going to drink all day long. So the kefir gets quite sour, and if I add a bit more juice, it just sweetens it up a bit, and it gives it a bit more juice to eat, because of course it's got to keep on eating. And then I top that up with sparkling water, because I want this to get sparkling. That's what makes it so delicious. And if you get that balance of sweet and sour, it really does taste like sparkling red wine. There's a red wine I used to like, a sparkling Shiraz, very, very delicious, and it reminds me of that. So it's my absolute favourite drink, but it's got no alcohol. It's not the same as wine. You see, the kefir grains eat the sugar just like alcohol does. Alcohol, when you brew wine, it eats up the sugar and turns it into alcohol. Well, here the kefir grains work very fast. In a couple of days, they've eaten up the sugar and turned it into this nutrient-rich liquid, this biological liquid. And it's got a lot of energy. There's a lot of life force going on in it. There's so much life in the liquid. And of course it's also structuring the water. This juice is mostly water, but the living kefir grains provide life energy, provide structure to that water. And now here's the apple juice. So first of all I've got to shake it up because all the sediment, all the grains got stuck at the bottom. They're stuck in the sediment, so I've got to really shake it all up, and then when I pour it out, all the grains will come out. So unscrew very carefully. It gets very sparkly. You've got to watch out for this. It will expand your bottle, and it's happened to me more than once. You open it up and boom, it suddenly explodes and squirts everywhere, all over. I've had it go all over the ceiling. But once you've got the hang of it, you just make sure you always open the bottle very, very slowly, because it builds up pressure. And you must only keep this in pressurized bottle, a bottle that you know can handle high pressure. So a glass bottle with a good screw top lid is the best. And I did have all glass bottles, but the lids have stopped working, so I need to buy myself a new glass bottles. So what I'm using now is the plastic bottles from the juice. It's not ideal, but I only use it once and then get a new one. And I'm in the process of getting some new glass bottles. Glass is much better because we don't want to drink the plastic. A certain amount of plastic just does leach out. So either you get this BPC free plastic, or if you have to use plastic, just use it quickly. Now here you can see the apple juice grains are a bit different. It's got a lot of sediment, so you can hardly see the grains. It's quite thick. But the same business, I'll drain it out as much as possible. I know all the grains are in there, and I've observed this. The apple juice grains seem to be a bit bigger than the grape juice grains, but that's why I keep them separate. It's like it depends what these bacteria like to eat, and I think they probably prefer the apple juice, which is why they grow bigger. But they also don't mind the grape juice. They're still alive, but they're a little bit smaller. But I like both. I like wine and I like cider. But I don't have to drink those now. You see, I can drink wine and drink cider all day long, but it's non-alcoholic and it's highly beneficial. It's got this miraculous energy to it, and it helps all digestion. If you had a big heavy meal, you drink this kefir with it and it will speed up the digestion. You see, there's so much going on in our body. We really are just a community of bacteria all working together. We're not really an individual being. We're lots and lots of little beings all working together in harmony. And that's why this drink is so good. We're adding to our community of bacteria. We're actually growing ourselves by drinking this. We're actually eating directly. This is direct food, because it's the bacteria themselves that just carry on living inside us and helping us continue our cycle of life. So these will help eat the food, break down the food that we eat to get the nutrients out of them that we need. And this is how it all works anyway. We're really feeding the mitochondria. The mitochondria eat the food, and they produce something that our cells eat, and they give us electricity. They're bioelectric batteries or generators. And this stuff is exactly that. This is living bioelectric energy. We're drinking this, and you'll feel it. As you drink this, you'll feel a little burst of energy coming to you. And this used to be known in martial arts and internal martial arts. And the samurai, they used to drink kombucha. Kombucha is a slightly different variation. It's a different bacteria, and it's based on tea, green tea or black tea. Any tea will work. But essentially, the bacteria eat the tea and the sugar. You've got to put sugar in with it. And I used to do kombucha a lot. I used to do kombucha before this, but I found this one is the best. This is number one. When I moved to this one, it was much more delicious, and I found much more energy and much more immediate benefit, because these guys just eat sugar. It's simple as that. It's simple as that. And what do we eat? We eat sugar. So if we eat sugar and drink kefir, it's going to help us digest the sugar. And in particular, if you go into a keto diet, if you want to go ketogenic, which again is very, very good if you can do that. Ketogenic caveman diet is probably the best thing. But you still need some plants. Plants are more like medicine. So you use plants as medicine. So you don't use them so much as food, you use them medicinally. The food has got to be the natural animal products. They're still the best food our body can have, because that's what the mitochondria like to eat. And this stuff helps you digest. So if you're having too many carbohydrates, then this will digest carbohydrates, the sugars as well. And if you have problem with milk products, there's another kefir, milk kefir, and I'm going to do another video on that. But now let's move to the shortcut method. This is what I do every 3 or 4 days, depending how long it takes me to drink it. And it's so easy. So look, here's the red wine kefir, the grape juice kefir. The sediment is at the bottom and the liquid is at the top. And I'm very careful not to shake it up. I want to keep this separation. And here's the apple juice one. You see, this is the cider. You can clearly see the sediment and all the grains are sunk to the bottom, and I've got clear liquid on the top. And all I've got to do is drain that clear liquid off for my drinking bottles, and make sure I keep all the grains and the sediment inside. I unscrew very carefully because it's sparkling, remember. But in those big containers, they don't seem to get too sparkling. There's enough space in there for it to expand. And then I pour off very carefully, pour off the clear liquid only, just watching, and as soon as some of the sediment comes, I stop. And now you can see all the sediment left in the bottom. So that's what usually you have to strain, but I don't bother straining it. All I do is take the new grape juice, so here's the new grape juice, and pour onto the sediment and the grains. The new grape juice up to about 3/4. You've got to leave a bit of space. So there needs to be a bit of air in there. They need a bit of oxygen, and that's enough for them to last 4 days or so. And I give it a good shake. So if I don't shake it, the grains might not get the juice. They're stuck under the sediment. So I've got to give it a really, really good shake up. This is the equivalent to straining it. This is like straining it. I'm getting the grains out so they can all access the new food. I just shake it up. And of course they'll settle out again and the sediment will build up, but it doesn't matter. After about 6 months, that's when I strain it. And now here's the clear liquid. I divide that into 2 bottles. So these are the ones I'm going to drink, and you see it's about less than 1/4 of the way up, just a little bit at the bottom. Then I top those up with fresh juice, so it gets a bit sweeter again, and it also allows them to keep growing. I want them to keep going. They're going to last me 4 days or so. So in that 4 days, they get more and more sparkling, and they get a little bit more sour. So I now know exactly how much to do to last me to keep the most delicious drink. I mean, this is just so delicious. I can't get my head around it even to this day. I'm literally always drinking my absolute favourite thing to drink. I can't drink anything else now. It's like anything else is like, well, that's nice, but not as nice as this. I'm literally always drinking my absolute favourite thing to drink. It's so delicious. And that's part of why it's so good. If you can get this to be so delicious like I do, it feeds your soul. When you drink something tasty, this is not physical. It's an experience of taste. That goes directly to your soul, and it's the secret to diets. You try and eat the most delicious foods only, drink the most delicious drinks only. You see, even if that drink or food is not so healthy, not so good for you, but it's so delicious, you love it so much, that will still feed your soul. You've just got to be aware that it is not feeding your body, and it might even be poisoning your body. You know, it might be bad for your body, but you love it so much, I still got to have some. And that's okay. You just got to realize that and compensate. And here's the apple juice, same business. I just pour off the clear liquid from the top very carefully, not disturbing the sediment. I keep the grains in the sediment, and you can see there's the apple juice sediment. And I keep them separate because the apple juice stays clear, and the grape juice, the grains go red. They're stained by the colour of the grape juice. So I like to keep the colours pure, and so that I keep them separate. And here I'm using apple juice mixed with ginger. This is apple and ginger juice. So I've got a sort of a ginger beer effect. It tastes a bit like ginger beer. Absolutely delicious. I literally, I've worked this out now for so many years. I've tried this in all different ways. This is so easy, so quick, so simple that this is what I do now. And I shake it up. Remember, you've got to shake it up so that the grains separate out and they can access the apple juice. Then I divide the apple juice up into 2 bottles for me to drink over the next couple of days. But you've got to remember these things. You must make sure the lid is tight. You screw the lid on tight because it will expand, and you don't want the lid to suddenly explode. And sometimes I've had that as well. The lid itself is not screwed up tightly enough. The lid comes unstuck, and then it all leaks out, and you've got to clear it all up. And you also got to remember, only use plastic or wood. It does not like metal, so don't stir it with a metal spoon. Don't put it in a metal cup. Keep it away from metal. The grains or the bacteria don't like the metal. It discharges them. You want to keep that energy. You want to keep that electromagnetic energy. And these things are alive. When you drink this, you are drinking life force itself. And that's what I was saying. The samurai and martial artists, they knew this. They drink this stuff. It build their chi, build their energy, their power, and they're doing chi practice, the qigong exercises. So this goes together with that. You're drinking the chi and you're doing the chi exercise. All works together. All very good for us. Very good. Builds our health, builds our power, builds our chi energy. And so now here's my drink. I've got 4 drinks, 2 apple, 2 grape to drink for the next 4 days, and the 2 in the big containers I put away, and I just leave them like that. I leave them alone. 4 days they would have digested, they've gone quite sour and they'd be quite sparkling. So those I put away in the cupboard and just forget about them. And then with these other 4 drinks, what I do is I put 3 away in the cupboard and 1 I put in the fridge. So one I put in the fridge is the one I drink. I let it get, it's already got a certain level of sparkle to it. It still will live in the fridge. You can keep this in the fridge. It just slows down the fermentation process in the fridge. But it still keeps going. If you put it in a warm area, it accelerates. So you'll get sour faster. It will get sparkling faster, and you've got to be wary of the lid. It will explode more if you've left it in a warm place. Put it in the fridge. It calms down, and you can open the lid easier. So play with this. It really is one of the greatest superfoods and super drinks you could possibly have. It is quite literally miraculous. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And in the next video or soon, I'm going to do a video on milk kefir. Milk kefir. So this will help you with all milk products. And it's similar to yogurt, but more potent than yogurt. Again, much more potent than yogurt. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in one of these other videos here.